Wow, what an awful year for comic book movies. This may just be the year where comic book movies died. We've had consistent flop after flop with a lot of these superhero movies. Only like two of them you could even consider to be a success. The others are just an embarrassment. So let's look at the superhero movies that came out this year and rank them from worst to best. And I'll give a couple of reasons as to why I have it where it is. But I've done reviews for all of these movies, so if you want a more in-depth look at what I think about all the movies in this list, feel free to check those out. I'll leave the links down below in the description. So, kicking this off, let's start with the worst superhero movie of 2023. And in my opinion, I think that would be Ant-Man 3. This movie is absolutely terrible. It's been a really rough year for Marvel Studios. They had Secret Invasion, The Marvels, Ant-Man Quantumania. Just an embarrassment. Ant-Man 3, the best thing I can say about it is the Kang scenes, but even those are kind of tainted now with Jonathan Majors' legal problems. So I can't even say that as a full positive anymore. The CGI looks awful. The green screen is dog shit. It looks like a Spy Kids movie. It's just a very bland, forgettable film. Marvel Studios has just kind of lost their magic, and this movie is very evident of that. And it shows in its box office. This movie made even less than the second one, which is just like, yikes. They tried to raise the stakes by having our new quote-unquote Thanos, but then he just loses at the end of the film. He's constantly being hyped up throughout the whole film as, oh, I'm a big badass, and then he just gets his ass whooped by Ant-Man, one of the weakest Avengers. But yeah, in my opinion, the worst superhero movie of the year is Ant-Man. Next up, we have The Marvels. The only good thing I can say about this film is Miss Marvel. She was pretty good in the movie. She made it enjoyable to get through. Outside of that, there's nothing else I can really say. The villain is terrible. I don't care about any of the characters, besides maybe Miss Marvel a little bit, but even her is just like, Yeah, it's mostly the actor's energetic energy that she brought to the film that made it watchable. But outside of that, what is there to say as far as a positive for this film? The action was mediocre. It's nothing we haven't seen before in all these 30, 40 movies we've had already in the MCU. So if you're not showing me anything new, then why are you even adding it to the MCU? And then next up, I would say Shazam! Fury of the Gods is the worst of the year. I really enjoyed the first Shazam movie. It's one of my favorite DC movies, but this sequel was not it. Just terrible. The villain sucked. It looked really cheap. A lot of the effects didn't look good. I do like the characters though. They are pretty consistent from the first movie. They actually try to have some kind of heart. I like the way they handle the whole family approach in this film. All the characters feel like an actual family. That's also a strength from the first movie as well. So for that reason, I'm putting Shazam! Fury of the Gods above The Marvels and Ant-Man 3. But that's about as far as I can go with it. So yes. And then number 5, I have Blue Beetle. I really like that we finally got a movie for Blue Beetle because I love Young Justice. I thought it was a really good TV show. So it's nice to see Blue Beetle getting some love in the live action department. As far as the movie itself, it's just pretty mid. It's like if somebody made a superhero movie with AI. It has all the recipes for a superhero movie, but there's like nothing else to it besides maybe a little bit of heart with the whole family going on in the film. The humor's not very funny, but he's got a nice costume. Some of the action was... There's things you've seen before already in superhero films, but it's better than the other movies I've already listed on here. And when I say these villains suck, I mean they really suck. Like, the last minute, they try to give one of the villains some sympathy points. They try to go through his backstory right before he dies, and I'm like, what the fuck? Where was that the rest of the movie? Yeah, that's about as far as I can go with Blue Beetle. Number 4, I would say Aquaman 2. I like Black Manta in the film, even though he's kind of a generic villain, but I like the whole idea of bringing back villains from the first movies. He was a decent villain compared to all the other shit we got this year. Black Manta looks good compared to all the other dog shit we've got, so I can give him that. He looks physically intimidating and the actor looks badass, especially with that scar he's got on his face. As far as the rest of the film, Patrick Wilson and Jason Momoa do a great job of kind of keeping you entertained throughout the otherwise boring film. A lot of the humor doesn't really land, but it's a fine movie. Whatever, it's harmless. Alright, now that that's done, I have a confession. I like The Flash. I know, that's crazy. You tell somebody you like the Flash movie and everybody thinks you just said, oh, I actually agree with Hitler's point of view. Like, people look at you like the most disgusting person on earth. Like, you deserve to be wiped off the planet. You deserve to go up there with the aliens if you say you like the Flash. You don't belong here with the rest of us. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone hates on this movie way too much. I think the Flash is very overhated. It's got tons of emotional moments that hit. It's got some great action scenes, in my opinion. It's finally a superhero that doesn't just punch somebody over and over. He's got super speed. That's what I like about the Flash. It's nice to see Michael Shannon back as General Zod. It's also nice seeing Flash and Batman. All these different Batmans kind of come together. And yes, I know. The cameo scene sucks. I understand. Yes, I know. Ezra Miller's a fucking crazy ass criminal. I get it. Those are the two go-tos for this movie. Oh, the movie looks ugly. I don't care. So does a lot of the MCU films that people hype up. The Flash, in my opinion, is probably a top 5 DCEU movie. I really like The Flash. So yeah, for that I'm going to put it at number 3. Number 2, I have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. My only issue with it is that nobody died, which I kind of expected somebody to die because this is the closing chapter of the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy, and they hinted at it a lot in the trailers and marketing for this film. So it was very disappointing to me and very shocking in the theater when I was like, wait a minute, they're not going to kill anybody off at all? Which is fine, I guess that's how they want to end it. I just find it kind of disappointing. I also thought a lot of the humor was kind of cringy. As I do with a lot of the other Guardians movies, not all the humor always lands. Sometimes it get a little repetitive and annoying, especially in the second movie. But overall, I like this movie. I really like the villain. It was a really strong villain. One of the best of the year, as far as superhero movies are concerned. I really like Rocket's story as well. And I think this movie kind of solidifies the Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy as one of the best superhero movie trilogies ever. James Gunn was really cooking when he made this movie. And it shows that a lot of people actually care about these characters because this is the only MCU property that was actually really successful this year. It made almost $1 billion in a year where everything else MCU flopped. And then number 1, I have Across the Spider-Verse. What a great animated film, which is hard to do. Into the Spider-Verse was fantastic, and then they come out with this, Across the Spider-Verse. If the third movie is as good as these two, this may just be the best superhero movie trilogy ever. Not just that, one of the best trilogies ever. This movie was fantastic. I already watched it so many times. The ending is fucking great. I love Miles' story in it. All the Spider-Mans are great. All the new characters are fun and entertaining to watch. All the action is really energetic, and there's this feeling that so much care and love went into this film. There's so many little details in the background that it showed that so much time went into this film. It didn't feel rushed. It felt like something someone took their sweet ass time on to make it perfect. So for that, I'm going to say Across the Spider-Verse is the best of the year for superhero movies. It's a fantastic film, especially looking at all the other shit we got this year from superhero movies. Also, the Spot's a pretty funny and entertaining villain as well. Some of the humor actually did work pretty well in this film. Can't say that for a lot of other movies. But yeah, that's my list. That's my ranking. What do you think? Do you think I'm an idiot? Let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. And let me know what your ranking is. How would you rank these movies? Tell me how you feel down in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys next time.